Hi there. Perhaps you're a friend of the Nelson and District Women's Center or know of someone who's used its services or volunteered there. Then you might be aware that the center has been a topic of controversy recently. This video is made by an anonymous third party that has read and heard both sides of the controversy and wishes to offer the reality of the situation. First, a little backstory. During the 2018 Annual General Meeting, or AGM, there was a massive communication breakdown between groups within the NDWC who don't see issues eye to eye, most especially with regard to gender. The Women's Center is under threat of losing its funding because of a lawsuit served as a reaction to events following the AGM. The lawsuit, which was served against an organization with a volunteer board of directors and 4 part-time staff, has been a major cause of staff and board burnout. The settlement agreement is now in the hands of a board that was appointed as a term of that same settlement agreement. Those serving the lawsuit are calling themselves the Bread and Roses Collective of Nelson. They say that they are working to restore democracy at the Women's Center, but they have been raising funds both on and offline to use the legal system as a means to resolve conflict. Is using the power of law and capital against a non-profit a feminist way to resolve conflict? Whose interests does this lawsuit truly serve? On their website, some glaring myths and dramatic propaganda can be found. This video will use screenshots from the website to demonstrate the rhetoric that Bread and Roses is spreading. Before we dive in, here's some vocabulary to know. Cis, aka cisgender. Also known as cisgendered, noting or relating to a person whose gender identity corresponds with that which they've been assigned at birth. Examples include cis male, a male who identifies as a man and has a masculine gender identity. Trans, or transgender, of or relating to being a person whose gender identity differs from the sex the person was assigned at birth. Non-binary. So there are several definitions for this one, but of course the one that we're talking about is relating to or being a person who identifies with or expresses a gender identity that is neither entirely male nor entirely female. This is what the Webster's Merriam Dictionary describes. There are other ways of saying this. Marginalized genders. WAVA is a rape crisis center in Vancouver. This is their description of people of marginalized genders. So this includes cis women, trans, two-spirit, and non-binary people. And the most important is highlighted in green. Sexualized violence is more likely because of having a marginalized gender. If you needed any reminders why trans people might be considered marginalized, take a look at this infographic. Or here's some stats on women of color who are trans in America. Now let's get talking about the myths versus the reality at the Nelson District Women's Center. Myth. The NDWC wants to serve all genders, including cis men. Reality. The NDWC was, and still is despite currently being derailed by the lawsuit, working toward transgender inclusion with a trans drop-in slot. This does not include cis men. Myth. The NDWC has been taken over by a small group of self-appointed leaders. Reality. There are only 2 current staff members and no current executive director, as they have left due to the stress of the lawsuit. The members of the board have also left due to the burnout from the litigation. Ironically, the lawsuit's terms have empowered Bread and Roses to appoint nearly the entire interim board. No one working at the center has appointed themselves. The NDWC did make some administrative errors, and Bread and Roses ran with this as their main leveraging tool during litigation. Myth. The NDWC are pushing their vision of how to run things without full member support as if they have a mandate to do so. Reality. This one's a bit long. There are only 2 current staff members at the NDWC, neither of whom were staff at the time of the AGM last year, when recent conflicts and lawsuits arose. The trans drop-in program isn't even being offered right now, as the 2 current staff are super overworked. They are trying to still offer services to underprivileged women and contend with a lawsuit served by privileged, financially, and socially established white women. Myth. The NDWC banned women from the center for questioning how things were being done. Reality. Former executive directors made the decision to ban these women because they were making NDWC staff and visitors feel unsafe in the community and at their work in the Women's Center, which is supposed to be a safe place. Myth. Bread and Roses made several attempts to talk with the Women's Center, but it was to no avail, so the only thing they could do was sue them. Reality. Over a year ago, there were unofficial attempts made to former employees. To this date, not a single attempt from Bread and Roses Collective has been made to speak to current staff. The current interim board has nearly all been chosen by Bread and Roses, a result of the lawsuit settlement. The lawsuit is burdening the Women's Center by derailing time, energy, and resources away from operations to navigate the legal struggle. And it's making it that much more difficult to provide the support that women in crisis need. So what can we do about this issue? The 2019 AGM is on December 4th, doors at 5:30, starts at 6:15. Takes place at the Adventure Hotel in the Ballroom in Nelson. Consider attending the AGM and voting for board members that represent your values. Maybe even consider running for member of the board. And definitely consider speaking to your friends and family about the facts presented in this video. To vote, you'll need to be a member. We've put a link in the description below this video so you can find out how to sign up. Some additional information for you on the next slide. Feel free to pause so you can take down all the details. Thanks for watching, and please attend the AGM and make your voice heard.